Hello, and welcome back to my show. This is season two, episode two. Technically, it's two, but I'm considering it one in a way because my first one I did back in January. Let's just say that nobody could hear it. It had no volume, no sound. It was ridiculous. I did all that work for nothing. Anyway, if somebody knows where my voice is, please tell me where it is because I can't find it lately and it's been driving me crazy. So, okay. Now, I, I'm hoping I do a better time this time, a better format. And I'd like to have some comments and feedback. And please don't, be afraid to give me good criticism if you need to. Be kind, though, because I'm fragile. And share. But on with the show. Okay. Lately, there has been, since the pandemic has happened, there has been an incredible amount of talk about the homeless people, how much people can get on ODSP or Ontario Works. Basic income has been talked about a bit. So today's topic is on that. Given the fact that I am on ODSP, I think I'm highly qualified to know what I'm talking about. First of all, let's talk about ODSP. ODSP is a great thing to have, and I'm very grateful for it because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have any income at all. And obviously, we need one. If I could work, I would work. There are a lot of people out there, if they could work, they would work. And nobody likes being on disability. Nobody asked to go on disability, but things happen and it puts you there. So now you're left with it. And you're left with hearing all kinds of crap about how we're weak, we're greedy, we are getting too much money. It's come from taxpayers' monies and they don't want to pay for it. Those people, I hope they never end up on disability themselves because, they would understand the problems. And the people who are on it, like I said before, they don't ask for this. It just happens. It could be a car accident, it could be an accident, it could be illness, who knows what. But they're on it now. Excuse me. So, but how much do we get? And I say, as a single person, I get just over $1,000 a month. Now, let's put this in perspective. Just over $1,000 a month. Have you seen the rents these days? Most places, most decent places, and even some that are not even that decent anymore, are going for $1,000 and up. That's our entire check for the month. That doesn't include the fact that we have to get food and pay bills and get clothing and things like this. Over $1,000. My rent here I live now has gone up last year. It is now $1,015. Like I said before, that left me with maybe, if I'm lucky, $200 a month for everything else. Which is why my son lives with me. He is on ODSP too. The only way we can actually survive is we have to combine our incomes and divide everything in half and do it that way. I would love to live on my own. I'm sure my son would too at times. We can't do it. There's just no way. Unless, of course, we get onto guaranteed income. But even that wouldn't help completely. Because as it is right now, what you get for rent and utilities on ODSP when you're a single person, hang on to your hat here, is $497 a month. You can't even get a room for that price. And why? Because we lost, I don't know how many years ago now, quite a few actually, when you consider, we had lost about 22% of our income. It wasn't the greatest at the time, but losing 22% hurt. And over the years, they have been generous at every now and then and giving us a 1% increase here and a 1% increase there, but it's never on the rent. It's only on basic needs. So the rent portion really has not gone up in all this time. Rents have. The cost of living has forced people to pay rents that are extreme at this point. If you have a place, no matter how bad it is, you can't afford to move because if you do, the rent's going to be even higher. And there's no guarantee the next place is going to be any better. So, what is the answer to this? Well, there are several things you can do. First of all, how about giving people on ODSP and Ontario Works, because they get even less than we do, enough to pay rent, actual rent. Now you know the rents anymore are going over well over $1,000. So that would mean to be actually fair to people who are on ODSP, you'd practically have to raise the rent by triple. Just even double would help, but triple would be better. Then let's put the cost of living in there. If you've gone to the grocery store or any other store, you have noticed that the prices of everything has gone up. The cost of living has gone up. The cost of just buying basic needs has gone up. Cost of getting up if you're on LTC, the cost of that has gone up. If you have a car, the cost of the car has gone up. But our income hasn't, and in the last couple of years, it has gone up by 0%. But everything else has gone up. So they have to give us more money. Now, here's the catch. That means taxpayers are probably going to have to pay a little bit extra in taxes. And I'm sorry for them. I really am. But I deserve to have a life. I deserve to be able to live. And that comes to the point of having a home. And that brings us to the second part of this. Homeless people. They have been dealing with homeless people for a long time. And surprise, surprise, the number of homeless people has gone through the roof. You can't go anywhere downtown without seeing people who are homeless and trying to sleep outside or try to get money from other people to survive. It's a sad, sad situation. So what are the answers the government gives us? Let's see. Well, we can build more homes, and that's good. But that's not the end all to be all because it doesn't help that much. Those homes they're building only help people who are in homeless states and are in desperate need of a place, and they deserve a place to live. But if you look at the waiting list for people who are living in homes the rent has now gone to the point where they can't afford to live there anymore, they're on the waiting list and have been on the waiting list for up to 10 years. Personally, myself, I've been on the waiting list for at least 8. And I have no way of knowing when or where I will get a home because you can't find out anywhere. And it doesn't really matter because I may get up to the third spot in a place, but then there's somebody who has a more drastic need, and I get bumped down again to number 8. See what I mean? You can't get anywhere. So what happens to these people who are waiting on the waiting list? Well, guess what? They're now homeless too, which is why we have a major problem because now there are more homeless people because they can't live where they're living now, and they've been on the waiting list for so long that they have basically run out of any options. So you see, that solution is nice, but it's a Band-Aid, and it ain't going to solve anything. What they need to do, and I know there's going to be a lot of people out there who will not like this, but I don't care. It's my opinion, and I'll say it. First of all, I am living in a really nice apartment, and I really don't want to move. But if I go on the guaranteed income list and I get a place, I'm going to have to move. Now, I may move into an area that I don't like, that is not safe, and is not as nice as this one. And my rent won't be any different, and my basic needs situation won't be any different than it is right now because lack of funds is the basic need end of things. So, and I also have now the extra cost of moving because if you don't have a person to move you, you got to pay for it by somebody else. I've gone to Hawk twice because of that. Now, so what you do? You can turn the place I'm living in into a guaranteed income. There are other guaranteed income apartments in this complex. So what's the harm of turning another one into one? Then away, I'm off the waiting list. Somebody else can take the spot I would have taken, and I don't have to move. Win-win, as far as I'm concerned. Two, give us more money so that we can actually afford to pay the rents that are out there right now. That way, if you have to move or you want to move to a different location, that's maybe a tad more money, obviously, because everything is at this point. You can at least afford to do that. Landlords won't turn you away because they know that at $497 you can't afford their place, so they're going to go, no, no, you can't live here. So that solves that problem. And you don't have to build as many homes. And like I say, by doing that, that would take people who are on the street off the street, because guess what? They now have enough money to pay for rent. So there's another option. Now, like I say, back in the beginning of all the pandemic, Justin Trudeau came out and said, and a lot of people have come out and said, that you can't live off of anything less than $2,000 a month. You have to have at least $2,000 a month to live. That's why they made their gift to us and their help to us at $2,000. I get less than that. I get a lot less than that. Remember, we had to go over just over $1,000 a month. So they expect me to live with far less than $2,000. But anybody else can't live like that. So what does that tell you? That tells you also that my income is too low. My income needs to be at least $2,000 a month just to survive. Ask anybody out there who's trying to survive on that amount, and they'll tell you, yeah, you pretty well need that amount of money. And the sad part is that not much higher than poverty line as it is. So, if the government thinks that we need to have at least $2,000, how about giving us at least $2,000 for our Ontario Works? Again, the taxes will have to go up. But guess what? Your taxes are going to pay for the homeless people who are on the street. Your taxes are paying to their health care because they're not well, because they're living on the street. Your taxes are also going to the buildings that they're building because they're living on the street. So you're still paying taxes for these people. But at least these people have a chance to get off the street and build a life and a career in a lot of cases, and actually make money and live. Meaning they'll be healthier, happier, and less dependent. So there you go. Easy solutions. But we're talking about the government here, and they don't know how to do that part. They just don't. The other thing I heard too, unfortunately, is that, you could go on to basic income, but people on ODSP, they may lose a lot of the benefits they have right now, which means they're going to have to pay for those benefits that are currently free. So, in other words, the money that they would be using for the higher rents and the basic incomes are now going toward the medications and everything else that we need, because we only have to pay for that. So, if you're going to give us basic income, you better include people who are on ODSP. Better let them keep the benefits they have right now, because that's all the income they have. It's not like I can go and get a job anywhere, because unfortunately I can't. If I could, I would have by now. I've tried to come up with anything I can do without having an mental breakdown. It is not happening. Now, I have a couple ideas right now, but again, I'm not banking on them, because again, it's a long shot at best. I haven't worked for a long time. No one's going to hire me because of that, and no one's going to hire me because of my age. So, okay, I'm in this situation. And I'm not complaining about this. It's my life and I enjoy it. I love my life. I just wish that I could afford my life, because I can't. And I'm left saying to myself, well, do I pay this bill or do I eat? Do I pay this bill or do I live in an apartment? I can't do both half the time, so something has to give. So my credit rating keeps wandering off the deep end. So the main thing here, unfortunately, is that it is time the Ontario government and the federal government realize that every time they do a tax thing or put out a budget, can you please include people who are on ODSP and Ontario Works? We are human beings and deserve to live. Can you start giving us some extra help, because we haven't got any? Everyone in this pandemic has gotten help. $100 for 3 months in the very beginning. And according to Ford, we no longer need any more help because for us, the pandemic is over. We don't count. We're nobody. They've taken all the help we had before that we had to, get extra furniture we might need. That's gone. You want to get help with, I want to know if you do have to move. Now, you got to go someplace else, and that's really hard to get. And then you got to pay it back, apparently. So, no, don't go sit there on your butt and complain because you may have to pay more taxes, and God forbid that hurts. When you have a full time job, you're probably making decent money, and you can survive with a few extra dollars taken off. Where I, on the other hand, am only making a little over $1,000 a month. My rent's over $1,000 a month. And pretty soon, if things don't turn well, I could be one of the people out on the street. So here's the solution. Give us more money on ODSP. Give us more money for basic needs and rent, I say, with that. Make it easier for us if we do work to keep more of the money we have. Because, when you're working for 25 cents on the dollar, you really aren't getting anywhere because they take most of it away. There's no incentive to work because of that, even if you could work. And change the routine for these guaranteed income places. If you are in a home and it is possible to change your home into a guaranteed income place, do so. Work with the landlord and make it happen. It can happen because eventually you're going to have to pay me that kind of money anyhow to a building I might move into if I can. Because most of those don't really include people like me. I can't go into a senior's home because I have my son with me. We can't live apart because of the finances. You know the situation. You know the routine. And if I sound like I'm not charitable or not appreciative, I am. Believe me, I am. But you can't live off appreciation alone. Sometimes you need a little help. Sometimes you need a little push. And sometimes you need a little sanity. And unfortunately, dealing with the government at any time, you're not dealing with you're not dealing with sanity because common sense has always gone out the window. And I'm going to relax now with the rest of my day. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from this. I would love to hear any comments back from you about this. And don't forget to share and subscribe because I'd love to have you on my channel. My channel, of course, is the Evelyn Furness channel, or otherwise known as My Life as I See It. And with that, I say a hearty goodbye. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.